Hello, everyone, and welcome to another NintendoFuse Game Chat. Today, we're talking all about Which Way Up? Galaxy Games for the Nintendo Switch. So, Which Way Up? Galaxy Games is a 1 to 4 player local party game. You get 12 different gravity inspired minigames, as well as there's a whole single player kind of story, if you will, and the ability to play some of these mini games in a single player sitting where there's certain objectives and you're ranked based on how quickly you can accomplish the goal. You get different awards. So you get 7 different characters to choose from, like up to 4 players locally, and 12 different mini games that all of these mini games have to do with gravity mechanics, like Super Mario Galaxy, and some involve you running away, some involve you catching balls, some involve a game of tag, some involve just trying to touch the most stars to create constellations. Some involve jumping into a giant bomb and eating each other. Like, there's a lot of fun to be had. Just for full disclosure, um, because the Switch version, for whatever reason, is only local and it is not online, these we did get codes. We did get codes from the developer themselves, Turtle Flip Studio, who was gracious enough to provide that. They also provided us Steam codes so that Steve and I, who do not live in the same location, were able to test out and play the multiplayer mode together. So, Steve, talk about your experience with this game.
Immediately, like you said, it gives Mario Galaxy kind of vibes. And I feel like someone just kind of looked at Mario Galaxy and goes, I bet we could do something like that. Maybe even a party game. And that's exactly what they did. But overall, I had some various experiences with this game, for sure. But the physics in it, like sometimes seem really fun, and then other times when that's not that it's not acting like I'm expecting it to every time. So that was weird. But single player experience of this game and multiplayer experience of this game are vastly different. Vastly different. Single player is, of course, what I tried first. It's what Barry tried first as well, and it was not really an enjoyable experience. It needs some polish. There's some weird things, at least in the Steam version, which I spent more time with, and so I noticed even on the first level where you're just trying to collect and then deposit things. I can't remember which mode that's called. But anyway, you're supposed to collect these different pips, I think, and then deposit them in the circles. And I tried to do that as fast as I could, and I was actually getting really fast. I was trying to beat the time and everything, and that made a lot of sense. And I noticed that if I never got a total of the 4th star, because every time that I was going really, really quick, it wouldn't let me collect the last one. So if I was in a certain pace, the last one was unacceptable. I couldn't collect it at all. And it was really, really annoying because that was the only way I was going to be able to get the 4th star. So that was kind of enjoyable and experienced, like playing that level single player. But then that kind of frustrated me. But I kept on going and I'm like, okay, I can get this. I think it'd be fun. And then I go on to this hole-in-one golf game, which is not fun necessarily with the time. You're trying to get and all the different gravity mechanics and all that stuff. And then going to this one where you have to launch the meteors into a goal, basically like a kind of a soccer game or hockey game or something like that in the sky, and trying to do that when everything's moving at a certain pace to try to do it, and the timing and everything is also annoying, and like everything just has to work just perfectly for you get to make this happen in the allotted time to be able to get the 3-4 stars or whatever for each of them. And all this is various difficulty, various things going on. But then I also noticed some weird things, like on the first one, which is where you have to do the collecting them and dropping them off. In that menu, it still has, and I don't know about the Switch version, but in that one, it still has them being unlocked by so many medals that you've unlocked before. And so I was like, well, I've got 5. I could probably skip ahead. No, you cannot. You cannot skip ahead at all. But then in the other levels, they're just unlocked by finishing the prior level. So I think that's what they were supposed to be doing the whole time, but I don't really know. So it was a little confusing there. I was like, that's weird. And fine if they chose to do that, but on that one, it still showed, oh, you have to have 5 medals to unlock this. Well, I had 5, and I could not unlock it because I didn't do the one immediately before it. So single player, quirky, sometimes okay, sometimes not so fun at all. And then we got into the multiplayer, and that is where this game shines. I had a lot of fun just Barry and I playing online. I can imagine this on Switch, but a 4-player co-op, couch co-op, like multiplayer party game, like people yelling over each other and get out of my way and bumping each other out of the way. There's so many different games, 12 games I think in the different multiplayer games. So like yeah, I can imagine the chaos and the fun that could happen if 4 players were playing on the same couch or online as well. But unfortunately, there's no online on Switch, so that's kind of a knock against it. So I'm kind of all over the place with this game, Barry.
Yeah, so I started it up and I did the single player, and the say there's like 7. The show's is 7 characters, but only 3 are selectable. The other 4 are not in the single player, and the you need the medals to unlock the levels. So like the first level's all automatically unlocked. I got like 2 medals or whatever the first time I played. It unlocked the next level. Then I got 1 medal, and that wasn't enough. So now I was stuck. Now I had to go back. So I was like, all right, let me try moving on. And like, I really liked the golf because I thought it was really neat with the physics and the gravity. What I didn't like is racing the time for the
Yeah,
medals because it was in, you take a game like golf, which is all about precision and pacing yourself and planning your shot. And it just becomes you just throwing balls everywhere, whichever way you can, and hope something sticks because you have that timer on the top, just like
yeah.
moving down. And it's like, oh my God. So again, I was able to unlock a couple levels there, and the same with the one with like the soccer in the sky, but I couldn't unlock them all because I needed medals, and I started getting
Mm.
frustrated because I just missed times, and it became not fun. And I think like giving it to a kid, maybe they'll, if I was younger, maybe I'd sit there and be like, I'm gonna try to do it with my friends, maybe try and figure it out and find the best time. But I think as an adult, it just became more frustrating. Like I was sitting down to relax, and it was just like I am getting actively frustrated trying, and because the gravity, like you said, sometimes it works great, and sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes I think I'm supposed to go right, and then I go left, and sometimes I shoot this way, and like it's more lofty or floaty, and it wasn't the last time I shot. Like it seemed a little inconsistent.
Mm.
So the single player was rough. And truthfully, I was not very happy with the single player, and I was prepared to tell that, which I just did. But then we played the multiplayer, and I think the reason Steam allows multiplayer is because you're not doing multiplayer within the game. You're doing that Steam Connect, where you're connecting to somebody else's PC, and you're acting as if you're local to them, and you're playing over the internet that way, as opposed to within the client doing a multiplayer mode. So I think if Steam didn't have that ability, there would be no online to this game at all. So because Switch doesn't have that as a native ability, there's no online to this. So playing the multiplayer, which changed everything, and this is 1,000% where this game shines. Steve, talk about the multiplayer from your
Yeah.
perspective first.
Yeah. I mean, essentially, I'd say it's kind of like a Mario Party esque kind of idea, except for just the mini games. It's like there's no board game or anything like that, so you can play a series of mini games, or you can just pick random and whichever one you want. So yeah, there's 12 different mini games that you can choose from. So you've got games like Constellation Crash, where you're or Catch, where you're racing against across the universe to capture as many constellations as you can. And a couple of these are kind of confusing. This is one that I wasn't fully wrapping my head around, and Barry's like, oh, this is how it works. So you run into the stars and you have to continue to capture it. But if Barry came along after I'd already captured it, now it's on him, and I need to go back and get it from him, and so that sort of thing. So it's kind of like that kind of mechanic the whole time. So it's people running around all the time, going and getting yours that you just captured. You got to go recapture it, and if the most you capture in the time, you win. So games like that, but then you also have another one where it's like this runner. So you're running away from a black hole that's like continuing to get faster and faster and closer, and so you're just continuing to jump from planetary object to planetary object to try to not get absorbed by the black hole. Then you got other ones where there's like, so it's like this bubble that you have to stay in, and it's kind of like King of the Hill in a way. So you stay in it as long as you can, bumping the other people out, and you get to 100 faster, and then you win that one. Then you do have like the hole in one, and you have the other like the sky soccer thing where you're basically blasting these meteors into goals as fast as you can. So there's a bunch of different kind of games like that. Your bumper cars were just hitting each other and try to knock each other off the screen. All of these games, I think, could be really, really fun, especially when you get 4 players together. And we were having a blast, just the two of us, and already talking about like, oh, we need to get Greg on this. We need to get a couple more people on this. That would be fun. So, any of those stages stand out to you in the multiplayer?
Yeah, so with multiplayer, it changed everything because while there's still like a timer going down, you're not racing the clock, you're more competing. And that changes the dynamic. Even the hole in one, you're all shooting, and when one person gets in like the hole, then everybody gets one last shot to try to do it as well. So it's like, oh, I hope I can save myself, and I thought that was really crazy, and
Yeah,
it changed the game entirely because now it was a race against my opponent as opposed to a race against the clock.
makes a lot more sense.
A lot more sense. I really liked Puff Panic, where there's this dragon in the center and all these platforms on the outside that you have to like hop behind, but they're all being destroyed except for one. And the dragon will always turn to that one and do a blast. So that one is a safe spot until it's not. And it was really interesting because I noticed Steve was like hanging out there, and I started destroying all the platforms leading up to it and landed on it. And then the dragon blast, I got out of dodge, and he had nowhere to go because he didn't realize I had destroyed all the platforms. And I was like, oh, that's great. Like there's some strategy there, and I thought that was a lot of fun. And then there was the the one with the bomb where you become the bomb.
Yeah.
The gastronomer, where you like jump into this body of a bomb, and you could like eat a planet, and you could eat your opponent, but your opponent can throw a bomb and knock you out of it. It's a lot of fun, but it could also be a lot of unfairness when they follow you and you become playable and they instantly eat you. That's cheap. I'm gonna call that, but it's still like it was a lot of fun with just the two of us. I can imagine it with 4 people just having a blast. And it honestly changed my tune on the game entirely. That's how good the multiplayer mode is as long as you have people to play it with.
Yeah.
And I really wish the game had a bot system
Mm.
so that you could play it single player and play against the bots, because I think that would add a lot of replay and
Mhm.
practice. I mean, you can practice yourself, but by being limited as a single player, where it's all you can do is play the single, or you can plug in the second controller and play the multiplayer against yourself. That's not fun either. So it would be really cool to see a bot system come into the game. So yeah, there's a ton of things to do. The single player is limited by how well you can unlock stuff. I don't know if the other 7 characters are unlocked on single player to do 7 more games. I'm presuming, but that may be a future update. The game is $14.99 in the eShop right now. Steve, what do you think? $14.99. Buy it, wait for a sale, pass.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be in this category of. I mean, it is a party game, and so I think we need to judge it accordingly as a party game. And I think if you have the people that you can gather with in your own home or friends, and you like playing party games together, I'd say give this one a shot. I think this could be really chaotic and fun for your next party. As a single player game, avoid it. Like I wouldn't even give it any time. There's a couple of the stages. I think the initial one you start with is kind of fun. But then the golf against the clock, all those other ones against the clock, it's just gets annoying and frustrating. But as a party game goes, this is really fun, and I could imagine having four people in the same room, just like maybe even getting to the point, where like Mario Kart or Mario Party does. Sometimes you actually, punch the people next to you because they just knocked you off the screen or whatever. Like that kind of intensity could happen from a game like this. So yeah, from a party game standpoint, absolutely. From a single player, stay away.
I'm going to echo that, although we do not condone violence here at NintendoFuse. So yeah, I think if you're like the holidays are coming or you have family coming over and you're looking for something else besides a Mario Party or Mario Kart to play, I think you could have a lot of fun for $15 between the 12 games and you could set up like circuits and try and say who scores, who wins 5 games first and stuff like that. Like you don't have to do it game by game. Like you could have a lot of fun with it, and I think it's worth it. If you're by yourself, $15 is really tough at this point with the limited single player and no bots in the multiplayer mode and no online, so you can't even connect with other people. That being said, if those things were changed or updated or at least made a little easier so you can unlock more stuff or a little more forgiving in the single player, maybe. Otherwise, I would say wait for a sale, if at all. There's so many games out there, and I think this game does not bode itself well for a single player game, but it really does shine as a multiplayer game. So again, this game is out now for the Nintendo Switch. It came out March 27th, 2025. So it's a recent release. New content is probably being added to it, so keep that in mind at the time of this review. You might see new content that we're not privy to yet. Published and developed by Turtle Flip Studios, and thank you for them for providing us codes for both Switch and Steam so we could check out the multiplayer mode. If you enjoy reviews like this, please subscribe right below and go to NintendoFuse.com where we have a bunch of other reviews, game chat reviews, and solo reviews just like this, as well as our bi-weekly podcast, industry talk, interviews, and so much more content. So, Steve, thank you so much for joining me today. And for everyone else out there, have a great one.